We are live. Let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome back to another live and amplified indie fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. We have Delee. How's it going?
It's great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, excited to sit down and chat with you and hang out a little bit and talk about all the new music you have coming out. And
yeah. There's a lot happening, and an extra special thing is I'm talking to a fellow Texan right now, so I'm digging it.
Well, I can't claim that I'm a Texan because I moved to Texas 6 years ago, but
it counts.
It does.
A grandfather clause,
right? My thing is I had Jake Worthington tell me, "Oh nope, you're a Texan, you're good," and so it's like, okay, I believe you, and then it's just like, but now I talk to other people and they're like, "You're not from Texas, though." No. So
you pass for me.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You're from East Texas originally, correct?
I am. A little town called Van, Texas.
Okay. So northeast or southeast?
It's in between Canton and Tyler.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Right there on I-20. If you know where the Dairy Queen is, that's Van, Texas.
I drive I-20 all the time. So
there you go.
I'm from Chicago originally, so I have to either take I-20 or I-40, one of the two. So
Yeah, there's a little bitty town called Ben Wheeler right outside of Van, and that's where I grew up, on 25 acres, on back roads, on a dead-end street out there. There's no signs out there. It's like turn left by the tree. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I 100% get it. So is that kind of where the music started for you, was back home, or where's that kind of come into play?
Yeah, my father was the youngest of 10 sharecroppers. And when the family would get together, it was like hee-haw. Everybody singing and that sort of thing. So I grew up in that kind of environment. My dad was a police officer, detective, but really had a passion for music. And even up until his death at 80, once a week was performing locally out there in Edom, Texas at a restaurant. And so we grew up singing in Opry houses across Texas. And it was just always singing,
Nice.
Yeah.
And when did you kind of realize that you could sing, or was it just kind of second nature at that point?
I think I'm still trying to figure out if I can sing. When I was a little girl, it was always, they called me Sissy, and they would always say, "Get Sissy in here to sing." And it annoyed me because I wanted to play with the kids. And so it was like, "Get Sissy." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to, And so maybe that kind of did it. So I grew up singing, and then in college I sang at a theme park. And then I kind of let singing go and just had this normal life until, honestly, music came and found me a few years ago. That's what happened.
Sweet. And were you in the Fort Worth area at this time, or how does that kind of transition happen?
At what point are you talking?
When music found you?
Oh, I had already, it was just a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I'd raised my kids. I was a single mom raising my kids. They were all grown, and decided something needed to change. Felt like I was successful at what I'd done, but I felt like I was almost like a supporting actress in my own life. Like I didn't belong. Something just didn't feel right. And so I know my kids thought I was crazy. I didn't even know what I was going to do, but all I knew is I needed to change. So I sold my house, moved out to the country, and kind of just readjusted, kind of realigned, and tried to figure out what I was going to do. And at that point, I'm not making this up. I received a DM from someone on social media that said, "Hey, we have this cover band, and we saw a karaoke of you singing, and would you want to be our lead singer?" And I was at a place, I'm like, sure, you know? And so I went to that rehearsal. I kind of knew I was connected with one of the individuals. His name's Steve. He was the guitar player, and went to that rehearsal. We had a 3-hour rehearsal, and I got in my car at the end of it, and on my drive home, just started bawling because it was the most alive that I had felt, and I just knew that it was where I needed to be. Mm-hmm. Writing and doing my own music wasn't even in the picture. I was just happy to just sing my favorite songs and be with these people and just experience this joy that I hadn't felt since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it happened.
Gotcha. So you kind of found yourself in a moment of, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
I wouldn't go that far.
No? Okay.
This feels so good, and it was really emotional for me, and I can get emotional even thinking about it because it was the first time I felt like me. Mm-hmm. And I think I didn't even know who that was anymore, because other than singing to myself, I hadn't really, and a karaoke out with friends periodically, I just hadn't sang in so long. And it's just so much a part of who I am that it's really shocking that I had lost that, you know?
Yeah, I gotcha. And so from there, then you kind of transition into obviously writing your own music. Otherwise, we'd be having a completely different conversation at this point. What was there like a light switch moment for you that was like, you know what, I enjoy doing the covers, but maybe I want to start like seeing what I have to say or what I want to write about?
Okay, I think you're like Oprah or something. You're going to have me crying.
I'm sorry.
So what had happened was, what happened was my father got ill, and I lost him. The band formed a few months prior to him passing, and my connection with my father was music. That was how we even related to each other. I always knew what kind of mood my dad was in by when I walked in the door from school, what song, he was playing. If it was Take This Job and Shove It, or if the woman done left me or something, I knew, okay, I'm going to my room, like I knew how my dad was feeling it. That's just how we communicated with each other. And so my dad was a songwriter. Nobody ever heard his music really, but he had 20 journals by the time he passed of just music. And so it was kind of one of those things that after he passed, I felt I was pretty raw and felt like I wanted to feel him, and I wanted this deeper connection with something that would help me remember that connection with him. And it just brought me closer to who I was always, the Delee that was the little girl that I just loved, who was the best part of me. And so I didn't write music for anyone else. I was just going to do what my dad did. I was just going to pour out my heart on paper, and I was never going to do anything. I had no plans to do anything with it. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of this whole thing. I am on the bus writing the journey, just like everyone else. There's not an objective, if you will. But that's kind of what happened. I sat down and started writing, and in 2 months, I wrote, I want to say it was 60 something songs. I apparently had a lot to say. I don't know. And so that's kind of how it all began. Yeah.
Nice. That's 60 songs. You said in 2 months?
Yeah, my son told me this story, and somebody will have to verify, and you may even know. But I started writing, and I wrote several in like one weekend. Mm-hmm. And the first song was called Emergency. I'm about to do that song. Mm-hmm. The next ones were Kissing Frogs and Wonder Woman. Those were some of the first ones that I wrote. And so I was talking to my middle son. He's a Marine, and he was talking, he has a love for music as well. And he said, Mom, Alan Jackson became famous because he went in and sang for a label, and they asked if he had any originals, and he didn't. So he went and wrote songs for 30 days, and he came back in with a trash sack full of songs. And those songs, the trash sack songs, were the first songs that, like in his first few albums, big hits. I don't know if that's true, but I went, okay, I'm going to spend 30 days and I'm going to see how many songs I can write. And I don't know if it's true. It seems true.
It sounds right.
It sounds, if not, it's a heck of a story, right?
Right.
It inspired me. It inspired me greatly.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what happened.
Right. And I mean, even if it's not true, like the principle behind it is tried and true. Like the idea of, especially when you're doing something for the first time, practice and repetition, and just kind of, okay, yeah, the first song, you may not even know what the first song was you wrote. You may not ever record it. You may not ever do anything with it. But the fact is, you got that first one out, and then you're just kind of like repetition, repetition, repetition. And it's that whole debate of, do you prefer quantity over quality or quality over quantity? And you can have both, in my opinion, because quality is subjective, quantity is measurable. Like, obviously, if you produce 60 songs in 60 days, it's measurable. But quantity, like, you could have a song that I think is the best thing I've ever heard, best song ever written, rank it up there with Elvis Presley and all the big name people, but you may think it's not worth anything, so yeah.
Right. Well, and I would love to tell you that I had that much of a thought process to this. Again, when you're writing and you have no plans to ever do anything with it or really share it with anybody, it makes writing really easy, and so what happened after that, a good friend of mine from Van, Texas, happens to have her brother is connected with Sony. And all of a sudden I get a phone call from Sony Music Publishing saying, hey, what are you trying to do? And how can we help you? And within a month, I'm in Nashville recording my first album. It was, and it's been like that. This whole ride, it's interesting to have no expectations. And everybody's going, what are your plans? What are you seeking? I'm like, I'm just living this experience. Frankly, I never dreamed any of this would happen to me. I'm well past the time frame that I thought this would happen in my life. And so it's just, it's crazy because I'm just a normal person. I was just a mom raising kids in Texas and had a normal job doing normal things. And I think anybody that knows me is they're just as shocked as I am that my life has taken this pathway,
right. But I think that's what's making it so fun, because you're doing it for the pure enjoyment. Like, you're doing it because you love it with no expectations. And so every time something comes in and it's like, hey, we want to do this, or we want to bring you out, or we want, we'll call them milestones, because I can't think of a better way to kind of word it. Once you kind of start hitting these milestones, it's like, oh, okay, and so it's all very it feels all very natural, very authentic to you, because you didn't have any of these aspirations. You're just writing music because you wanted to write music, and hey, somebody wants to pay to bring you out to record, or whatever the back end situation was, so.
It goes a little further, because losing my father and music was our bond. There was this part of me that had this feeling of, I know my dad was so talented and he just never did anything with it. And he would have been amazing. I mean, incredible. I'm not kidding. He was so good. And there was this point that I thought, can I end my days and be okay with never having done anything with music? And I went, no, I have to go down this path. I am not taking a path to anywhere. It's something I felt I had to do. I just had. And if anybody, the shock has been that anybody ever listened to it. Like, okay, I made it. It was produced. Put it on Spotify. Nobody's ever even going to know. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it was still, nobody's going to see this stuff, much less anybody think it's good.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it's like, what? I mean, what is happening in my life? And so it's a really cool experience, you know, to do this at my time in my life, because most people think by the time you get to where I'm at and my age, and, you know, you're winding down a little, and I'm just speeding up, you know?
I love to hear it. You know, I kind of, listening to you talk about your relationship with your father and the experiences you went through, and, you know, the kind of awakening or epiphany, or, you know, whatever we want to call it, that you seems like you've had, is a situation that I've went through recently with my mother. My mother passed away in 21.
I'm sorry.
And at the time I was doing the podcast and all that stuff, and it was just kind of like, okay, mom passed away. It's time for me to kind of start worrying about actual life, you know, like that thing. And I was ready to kind of just let everything go. Whatever happens, happens, you know, all that stuff. And right before my mom passed, she was always the harsher critic of Live and Amplified and everything that we did. She was just like, oh, you need to stop doing it. Like, go focus on your career, focus on building a family, you know, like focus on that. And my dad was always kind of worried, but optimistic. He was a little bit more optimistic. He was like, as long as you can figure out a way to do money, I don't give a damn what you do, you know, that sort of deal.
Right. As long as he's not supporting you, do whatever.
Yeah. And so like a week or two before my mom passed, we were sitting there watching TV, and it was just me and her. We were like kind of talking. We had the TV, you know, just kind of on. And she was like, hey, just wanted to tell you something. Whatever you do, don't stop doing the podcast.
Aww.
And that changed everything. Like, it was like, I was kind of letting the podcast I was going to let it fade away, and just kind of, if I had one, cool. If not, it was whatever. And from that moment on, it was just kind of like, okay. And so we started doing it more consistently. I was much more intentional with a lot of the things that we did. And here we are.
Amazing. You know, it's funny you say that, because you would think that my father would be the one really encouraging me. Mm-hmm. But I had this same experience. Honestly, you got to realize he was the youngest of 10, sharecropper, had all this talent, didn't do anything with it. He did. He wrote songs, and we heard him with the family, and he did perform at restaurants, but he didn't do what he could have done. And I think it was out of fear that he didn't. He always saw himself as this poor sharecropper, and he just didn't. So therefore, as I'm his youngest and only daughter, I have 2 older brothers. Mm-hmm. He was the one saying, you need to go to college. You need to get a corporate job. You've got to support yourself. And he kind of squashed any dreams for me. Mm-hmm. And I followed that. I followed the book that people tell you, okay, it's the American way. You go to college, you get the job, you get married, you get the house, you get the kid. Oh, wait, the dog's in there somewhere. And you do all that, and it's supposed to bring you happiness. And yes, it did. I mean, my kids are the greatest gift to me. But the thing that you don't realize, or the thing that I didn't realize, is true happiness lies when you can be your authentic self. Mm-hmm. But when you're 18, you don't even know what that means or who you are. But him telling me, I followed that. But now as an adult, I realized that was his own fear in protecting me. Yep. He didn't go after it. So he was projecting everything he felt that kept him from doing that. And then his fear of my daughter, I need to know that she's going to be okay. She can support herself. She can do. So it came out of love. Mm-hmm. So it didn't come from another place, but it definitely prevented me from dreaming, if you will. I didn't dream, you know, I followed the path that they told me to take.
I got it. Yeah, because that's how my dad was kind of originally. Like he was always, my parents were always very supportive of like, okay, whatever you want to do, go do it, but do it within these traditional kind of means. So like for me, it was like film and video. That's what I really gravitated towards. Okay, well, go to school, study film, and then where do you go to get a job? Do you go to work at TV? Do you go to Hollywood? You know, like how do you go about that?
Yeah.
And so they were very traditional in that regards. And once they realized, I think the technological revolution of everybody needs a media person nowadays, like
Yeah.
that kind of came in clutch for me. So, but you know,
Yeah. You made some good decisions, but being a singer, and yeah, not a lot of people, is a very low percentage. So, it is what it is. And this is the way life is meant to be, if anything. And I will tell you this, in no way should anyone look at me and say, like, oh, I should do this, should do that. I'm just an average, normal person.
mm-hmm.
But if there is anything that my doing this, if there's any positive impact that I would hope, is that, people that are in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you can reinvent yourself
Mm-hmm.
and be whatever you decide you want to be, and you better make sure that whatever that is makes you happy.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's what it's all about. The happier you can create, the most happiness you can create for yourself in life, you sort of project that, and people feel it, and it's contagious, just like a virus is. Happiness and love and light is contagious,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen that. The more I thought, and I'm not kidding, my kids thought I had lost my mind when I sold my house. Most people thought I had lost my mind. I don't know of anybody that didn't think that I had lost my mind. Now people are going, oh, okay, maybe it's all right, But at first, it was a definite leap that I didn't even know where it was landing. That's what Evil Knievel's all about. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
still in this land of, oh my gosh, like I'm just taking these leaps, and I don't know where things are going,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just going to do it because it
Nice.
feels.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Nice little drop in though. I picked up on
yeah,
that
it
one.
was. Yeah.
It's really cool because actually that's the Evil Knievel. So I think you were promoting Evil Knievel. Like I think you'd put out like a promo or something for it, and that's originally what brought me to your page or to your Instagram page.
Was Evil Knievel?
Yes, and here's why: because somehow I was like searching YouTube or whatever, and I was like looking at like Evil Knievel stunts and like all the stuff he did. And I was going through YouTube and Google, and all of a sudden I found Evil Knievel's daughter on Instagram, which, or
Okay.
granddaughter or whatever. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, that's funny and random. Okay, let's follow that and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then, you know how Instagram and like social media is.
Yeah.
And like
Mhm.
not long afterwards, you popped into the algorithm, and I'm like,
Funny.
okay, let's see what this is about. So,
I love it. Yeah, it's not out yet. The pre-save though is about to begin. So I've dropped a couple teasers,
mhm.
just a couple, just to kind of give us kind of a little feel of what Evil Knievel is about. It doesn't come out till June 6th.
Mhm.
But the pre-save starts this weekend.
Nice.
So check my Instagram out to see it. But but I guess I am. I guess I'm promoting it. But I really was just saying that's why I wrote that
Yeah.
song. Literally, that's the way I feel. I didn't think about that, but that just shows sometimes even a
Hey,
blind girl finds a nut every once in a while.
hey, it happens. It happens. So, where you kind of at in the process right now? It's all coming out as an album, like as far as releases go. I know you've released some music. You got some more coming. Like,
Yeah, I released Everything Is Fine.
mhm,
That's out now. It's been out, gosh, what, a week and a half
mhm.
since the 9th, however long that's been. So Everything Is Fine is out now. It's the first single that's coming on the new album 55, which I think is going to come out the end of the year, maybe first of the year. There'll be 8 songs on it. So I'm going to every month release one. I've only recorded 4 of the songs for the album. But I'm going the middle of June back to Nashville I just finalized the final song. I was really battling, what is that last song, which I always do. But I just this weekend wrote a new song and it's going on the album. It's a brand new song I just wrote. It's called Think I Want to Take a Good Time Too Far.
Nice.
So I'm excited about it. It wasn't even I just wrote it literally Saturday and Sunday. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Is that common for you where like a song will just kind of come out of nowhere and get thrown into the mix like that, or?
Every song comes out of nowhere. For instance, normally I get the hook first, and I'll just get the whole hook with the melody, and then I work on a pre-chorus and the verses. This particular song, this is very common. Honestly, I feel as though I don't write any of these songs. I feel like I'm a pass-through. I woke up at 12:38 Saturday morning, and I had 2 verses that I recorded into my phone and went back to sleep. And when I woke up in the morning, I wrote them down, and then I wrote the pre-chorus later that night. And then the next day, I was just going, what is the chorus of this? What is the hook? Like, what does this go with? And Sunday wrote that, and I love it. It makes me so happy. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I'm not a person, things kind of come to me at once. Very often I'll even dream that I'm singing a song, and then I wake up and write it down, or usually I have to sing it because it'll disappear. I don't know if you understand that, but it kind of disappears. So that's kind of my process.
Nice. Hey, I get it. It works. It's one of those things where it's like, especially with phones nowadays, it's made it super easy to kind of, in whatever organically works for you. Like I've definitely had I went through like a memos phase where it's like just a bunch of voice memos. And then I realized that I didn't like going back to listen to myself speak. So it's like, okay, I'm going to start doing the notes thing. That's kind of where I'm at. So.
Right. Yeah. I have so many songs that I just have a hook for it. I just have the chorus. I couldn't tell you how many. I just have bits and pieces, and the rest of it will come. I know eventually the rest comes to me. Mm-hmm. I don't stress myself out about it. If it comes at once. Wonder Woman came like this. I wrote that very quickly. It rolled off of me as I was bawling my way through that song. But very often I'll get the hook, and then a few months later, I'll get a pre-chorus, and a few months later, there's a verse or two. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Nice.
Stress about it.
Yeah. So Everything Is Fine is the current single. That's the most recent single. How's it feel to have a new song out in the ether?
It's pretty exciting. This one, last time around, I really didn't have a ballad. And so I felt it was important to have something ballad, old school country feel, bringing me back to my roots. And so it's funny, I wrote this song last October, and I called it I'm Just Tired. And I do these songwriting spotlights. People can look on Instagram back to October, and I sang it sitting in my car. I sang a piece of it. And I realized about a month before going to Nashville that is a terrible title for a song. I'm Just Tired. Who wants to listen to a song called I'm Just Tired? Right. And so I changed it to the last, few words of the chorus. I'm really excited about it. It's received a lot of positive reviews. And, like I said, it's been out, I guess this Friday will be 2 weeks. So it's just kind of getting out there now.
Nice. For sure. And how long have you been playing it at shows? Like, is it a song that you will go out and play, or was it brand new when it released?
Brand new. I've never performed it live. Would like to. It's one that would be beautiful acoustic way. So we'll see where that all goes after we get a few of these under our belt. After I get the next 4, then that's when planning on, okay, what does this look like? I would really like to take this live. Would like to do at least a mini tour if open for someone, or do a mini tour. I would really love to do that because the energy I feel when I get to do that is just, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Texas is a place for mini tours. Like it,
I mean, yeah,
it's,
it is.
it's so easy. Just jump down 35 and you'll hit like 6 or 7 major cities and you're good. So
yeah, Texas, that's my people.
yeah. Everybody asks me, it's like, it's funny. My dad was like, yeah, your grandma was really concerned that you just stayed in Texas for as long as you have. You must really like it down there. And I'm like, yeah, there's a reason I've been here almost 6 years. And yeah, Waco may not be the move for me, but you know, Texas.
Oh man, Waco is up and coming with all the talk about live music. Mm-hmm. Some of the scene going on there.
When I say Waco, like
I'll come sing in Waco. Set me up.
I got you. Well, I got you. But like living in Waco, I'd want to get out to like one of the smaller towns like Mahia or somewhere within commuting distance, but a little bit quieter. You know?
Oh, Waco's too lively for you. I see.
Yes. Yeah. I don't mind the liveliness, but when I live between an airport and a college, or 2 colleges actually, you know, it's like, I'm good. So
yeah, I hear you. You're in between a lot of colleges. I went to Texas State in San Marcos, so I've driven 35 many times in life. So
one of the musicians I had, he just graduated from Texas State, and he posted a video of him jumping into the pond or whatever, the river or the pond. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting there, I was like, is that something that they do there? And I had to I felt like an old person just like Googling it. And they're like, oh yeah, that's like a tradition. And I'm like,
oh yeah. Okay. I feel like I'm not saying it right because when I was there, it was Southwest Texas State. Uh-huh. And you know, there's that whole, you know, I don't want to get a bunch of DMs from people I went to college with going, you didn't go to Texas State. You went to Southwest Texas State. So, hey guys, I went to Southwest Texas State. Yeah. That is now Texas State. Mm-hmm.
Fair. I got you. I got you.
Thank you for allowing me that so I didn't get, you know, havoc wreaked upon me.
You're awesome. I got it. So, but I really appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you here too much longer. For people to check out your music, social media, all that stuff, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, on Instagram at DLEE.official. And obviously Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, everywhere that music is streaming. That's where you'll find me.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. It's been an absolute blast. We'll have to connect in Fort Worth or Waco. We'll talk about it though. So
absolutely.
Awesome.
I would love it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for allowing me to come on your show. I enjoyed it immensely. Sincerely.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We'll have you back on anytime. We'll talk about that offline and all that fun stuff. But once again, thank you everybody for joining us, and we will catch you all later.